Welcome to the PinLeader Podcast, where strategic leaders get straight to the topics, strengthening our awareness and sharpening our minds. The PinLeader Podcast is produced by Roar, a production division of Mays & Associates Ltd. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Now here is your award-winning host, Dr. Shanda Gore.
Hello and welcome to the PinLeader Podcast. Today's episode is called Banking on People, and it is focused on an interview that I had at the WesBanco Workplace and Community Engagement Symposium, which was the last stop in 3 different locations that they had to ensure the opportunity for employees to be able to attend. And let me just say, it is by far one of the best experiences and development you can do for a workforce by allowing the opportunity and space to take the time to engage, have discussions, and learn. And your mission and commitment to your customers are fulfilled when you have the support of your employees and give them that space. And so that is what the WesBanco way is, and their intentionality behind it was very obvious and a positive work environment. I do think of a pinpoint that I have in my book. You become a more credible leader when you lead by example, foster environments of fact-finding, and encourage questions. Inquiring minds are the strongest minds, especially when you're problem-solving or encouraging discussion and innovative ways to support your customers and your colleagues. So when you foster an environment of engagement, your first and positive culture-building experience is like what we're about to talk about, as well as getting those leadership components out there. So without further ado, here is my interview. So today I have with me Kim Griffith, who is the Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer at WesBanco Bank, where she has dedicated nearly 2 decades to driving organizational success. With more than 25 years of HR experience, Kim has been instrumental in growing WesBanco's workforce to nearly 3,100 employees and expanding its footprint across 9 states. She has led transformative initiatives, including advanced HR technologies, multiple mergers and acquisitions, and the launch of a formal wellness program. Kim also spearheaded corporate training during a major core conversion and co-founded the WesBanco Women's Leadership Group, also known as WOW, which paved the way for the company's workplace community and engagement initiative and was the executive sponsor for the launch of employee resource groups. Her leadership is defined by a commitment to fostering collaboration, innovation, and a positive workplace culture. Kim's passion for people and progress continues to shape WesBanco's future. So without further ado, welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gore, and thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Oh, thank you. I so appreciate it. I've heard you speak and talk with your groups, and I know that your teams think so much of the work that you're doing. And again, when we're talking about banking on people, you're banking on your team as well. And I know that they so appreciate all the work that you put into them. So first we'll get started with leadership practices. And I really want to talk about, because of your connection that you're having with your employees, because you have such, 9 different states, 3,100 employees. What leadership practices do you rely on every day to stay connected with those employees?
Well, that is a great question. Of course, I would have expected nothing less. We are a financial institution, WesBanco Bank, to your point. We're in 9 states. We're a mid-sized bank. We're in the top 50 mid-sized banks now in the U.S. with our most recent acquisition that we had earlier in 2025. Although, with that said, I feel like leadership practices and staying connected with employees is something that's essential across all industries. So not just applicable to the financial industry, but I think you can certainly apply those best leadership practices across all industries. And those leadership practices in general, are essential for engagement, trust, and productivity. You're really driving a culture of connection with your leadership practices. So in my opinion, at the top of the list, of course, practice active listening every day. And I do that not only with my teams, and when some people will ask me, Kim, how many people do you have on your team? And I say 3,100. Yes, I have a team in my HR line of business of about 72 individuals, but my team is our entire workplace, our entire workforce. And I really come at it from that direction. And again, making time to genuinely listen to employees' ideas, concerns, and inviting that feedback, fostering that feedback culture. The other thing is really communicating transparently. And as an executive leadership team, our CEO, Jeff Jackson, myself, my colleagues, we talk about this a lot. We don't want to just hear the good stuff. And we're not going to just share the good stuff with our workplace and our workforce. We share updates on our company goals, changes, and decisions that we're making regularly. We're honest about our challenges and our successes because transparency builds trust. Mm-hmm. And we use multiple channels to communicate effectively with our workforce. The other thing I do is, and I know that you do this too, Dr. Gore, because I've witnessed it now more than once, I show appreciation and gratitude daily. So that has to be on the regular. I give myself grace. I give my team grace. I give our employee base grace. Recognizing contributions, both big and small, try to personalize that praise, and I encourage peer-to-peer recognition to really create that culture of appreciation across lines of business as well. And really, last but most certainly not least, aligning day-to-day work with purpose, encouraging my leaders, myself, my team, really clearly defining every day for the individuals on your team how their daily tasks contribute and directly correlate to the success of our organization, the success of our bank, and how that ties back to their own success. And fostering a better environment where they can succeed and have more opportunities. So those are probably my top practices.
So it sounds like, again, when we talk about workplace culture, you're fostering this workplace culture in a positive way by going ahead, those listening skills. Again, that grace, I can't emphasize that enough. Thank you for recognizing that. Sometimes it can be challenging, and I understand that. But I hesitate. I always think benign intent and giving grace, especially when people do not know. So this definition of what positive culture means to you, and I think you've defined that, but how do you measure that? How do you go about doing that?
Measuring culture, our primary tools that we use at WesBanco are employee engagement surveys. So running those on a regular cadence, twice a year. December, we're getting ready to launch one here in a couple of weeks, and including questions on those surveys related to trust, communication, recognition, and belonging. And really looking at that employee net promoter score. We're asking our employees in those surveys, how likely are you to recommend WesBanco as a great place to work? Mm-hmm. And inviting that feedback. That we can also measure that through our retention and turnover rates, and absenteeism and well-being indicators contribute to that as well. How engaged is our workforce? How much voluntary turnover do we have versus involuntary? We have a really very high retention rate for financial institutions in general. And again, I really take that back to that positive workplace culture, that foundation that we work off of. Our mission, our vision, our pledge. We start every town hall call with that. We start every meeting with that. It's important, and it creates that foundational culture that we build upon.
It's very apparent that employees are motivated and they're connected. And I think that you're saying that you're repeating. It's a message that you're delivering in a consistent manner, and you're doing it in front of calls. This is what we're going to do. This is who we are. And your expectation, you're setting those expectations of when you come to work, what you can expect when you come to the workplace, which I think contributes to your retention, because people do not want to go into a workplace not knowing what's going to happen. They like consistency, and they like to have a positive work environment. I do not know anyone who said, let me go to work and have the worst day possible.
I love that. It is called work.
Yes.
It's not, I don't get up in the morning and say I'm going to fun. There are things that we do every day. There are things that I do every day that I love and I'm passionate about. And then there are other tasks that I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I could cross-train someone on this,
Yes.
But you dig in and you do it. And that's what makes it all come together collaboratively. And again, that feedback culture, I can't say enough about the importance of that. And not being afraid to just we do create that positive work environment, and we all want to go in to a positive work environment. But let's face it, we spend as much time at work with our colleagues as we do at home with our families. So also having that listening culture and welcoming honest and candid feedback, even when it's not positive or not good, that's what helps us in leadership to really drive change and make notable change to our culture.
Let me commend you that you are not afraid to hear those voices, because I think that is something, it's not always rosy, like you just said. And it is, individuals want to help. Let me tell you about what happened here so that it can be fixed or addressed. Talk to me about how you're nurturing your future leaders, because we're talking about our current leadership, but you're embracing again new workforce, you've acquisitions, and again, you've got mergers. You've been through so much over your now decades of work. Talk to me about how you're identifying and nurturing future leaders.
We have several avenues that we use to identify and nurture future leaders. So we've stood up formalized leadership programs, from early career development to role development to career development for high performers to leadership development. And we've not only stood those programs up, but we've expanded on them. And they're intentional, and the content is intentional. The other thing that we've really done to increase and play to that pipeline for succession planning and future leadership are employee resource groups. Introducing employee resource groups in our organization made a huge difference, not only to our culture, but to our employee engagement and our workforce engaging in the workplace. We introduced earlier this year. I have an amazing team member. Her name is Courtney Sierra. She's our Vice President of Workplace Community and Engagement. And when Courtney first stood up the ERG, she wasn't even formally in that role.
Oh.
She was in a compliance role with us.
Oh, okay.
And she just had a passion for it. And I met her in an event, and we talked about standing up some employee resource groups back in 2024, 2025. We were like, let's see how it goes. We've not done this before, but let's take a run at it. And the trajectory, Dr. Gore, the growth, it just went sky high. And she turned back around and looked at me and said, this is not what I expected. I thought we were easing into this. And I said, man, but isn't it awesome?
I can see your face.
Yeah. So fast forward about, 12 or 14 months later, I said, hey, Courtney, we're taking you out of compliance. You're good at this. And she is phenomenal. So she has been a critical member of the team and really driving those employee resource groups. And she has a great leadership team under her leading those employee resource groups.
Agreed.
And it starts at the top. Our CEO, myself as the Chief HR Officer, those ERGs are important to us. The content is important to us. The membership is important to us. And Courtney's really driving that for us with those people that take leadership seats in each of those. So currently we have 4 ERGs. We have, you mentioned earlier, our WOW group. That's the Women of WesBanco. We have a multicultural ERG, a Pride ERG, military and first responders. And when Courtney hopefully listens to this podcast, she's going to say, oh, she's pushing that next gen banker again, which I'm hoping she'll introduce in 2026. But really, it encourages employees to speak up without fear of judgment, provides a safe space, allows for vulnerability and connecting with like-minded individuals. And then one of the most important things in our employee resource groups, I think, that fosters that psychological safety is we have a huge allyship component. So you don't have to be a woman to be a member of the WOW group.
Mm-hmm.
We invite our gentlemen colleagues to partake in that, and really it gains an instrumental understanding of one another. And boy, does that build strong leadership.
Mm-hmm.
It builds emotional intelligence across lines, across people, and really just fosters that leadership pipeline.
I think that succession leadership, when you're talking, especially those young professionals, they're looking for a place. Where do I fall in this? Where can I get connected? Another piece that I've worked with a number of ERGs at different institutions, organizations, and they contribute also to the marketing, to the bottom line of the organization, because they're helping not only the retention of great workforce, exceptional workforce, but also the customers and clients. They see it as you care about where my interests are, and you see me. And I think there's something said about building those relationships, especially for banking, because I want to bank with those that I can trust and build relationship with, which is one of the number one parts of, again, keeping and retaining great clients as well and customers. So I think they're also playing a part with that, and you see that and you recognize that. So that's very positive. So thank you.
Well, I would love to just spin on that for just a minute, because you couldn't be more right about ERGs driving business outcomes. I say this all the time: get diverse brains around the table.
Yes.
You walk into a room and you have all the same brains around the table, you're going to miss the innovation right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. And the ideas, the collaboration. When you get diverse brains around the table, they bring unique insights that really inform product design for us, recruiting and retention of our employees, marketing intelligence. Boy, how many companies have we seen lately who made a marketing boo-boo on a national or international stage just because they didn't have diverse brains around the table when that decision was made. So it's really important. And we make sure that our ERGs have a seat at the table and they're connected with all lines of business to share their thoughts and their insights to really drive those business outcomes.
That's excellent. Excellent. Well, now I've just got some fun questions for you. You are very busy, running so much within the bank and, with family as well. But if you have the time, what are you reading and what are you watching?
Well, right now I'm just finished Let Them by Mel Robbins. And if you've not read that, it's a super empowering read. And yes, the name of the book is Let Them. It's a lot about how we interact with other individuals, people that we love, strangers, but it's also let me. It's how I react to that, how I perceive that, and the action that I choose to take. So it's a great read. My other favorite read, and this is a go-to, I've probably read it 20 times, and when I just really need it or need to get grounded again, I highly recommend The 4 Agreements. And that's Don Miguel Ruiz. Be impeccable with your word, never make assumptions, don't take anything personally, and always do your best. Oh. It's a short read. It's a terrific read. And of course, I've been listening to the PinLeader Podcast, which is terrific. So I'm learning a lot, Dr. Gore, from listening to your podcast. So it's excellent. And again, my pleasure to get to be here today.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we've got to get you on that PinLeader book too, because there's 67 pinpoints in there. And I would love to get your feedback on that. And I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
Thank you very much. And it's on my reading list.
And I can't say thank you again to Kim Griffith for that wonderful interview, and for WesBanco for their engagement and their support of their community, their outreach, as well as their internal reach amongst their employees. So what a great organization. And I'd also like to say thank you to our listeners who are catching the show and sharing it and liking it. We so appreciate you. And thank you to our sponsors. J. Foster Jewelers, family owned, offering the finest natural gemstones, stunning engagement rings, and brilliant diamonds. And Jennifer Transition, financial advisor for Edward Jones. Thank you so much. And of course, until next time.
The PinLeader Podcast is hosted by Dr. Shanda Gore. and brought to you by Mays & Associates LTD, creating customized solutions for growth in the areas of leadership development, strategic planning, and culture building. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the PinLeader Podcast and share with others.